What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already found us or added us, we're on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, William Fratelli Cooking and Guns channel, where we post a cooking video each week. We've been posting this kind of content for about close to a year now, and then we post one video a week related to Second Amendment content, gun-related content, as it relates to safety equipment, firearm reviews, other fruitful content as it relates to Second Amendment community, being responsible with your firearms, other advisory videos where we show you guys fair use videos where people basically, surveillance footage and other content that we show you guys, stuff that you just need to be aware of, stuff going on the news, other videos related to the Second Amendment community as far as being responsible with your firearms, things you shouldn't be engaging in, just advisory, good, obviously not any legal advice. We just give we try to give reviews and content that we've been reviewing, and just try to be show you guys how to be responsible with your weapons and not to engage in any kind of reckless behavior. We do a lot of fair use, obviously, stuff we get off the internet, content, stuff that's been happening, like in LA, Chicago, and these bigger cities with all this chaos with these riots and civil unrest and stuff we've been seeing. So we just want you guys to be responsible. We post a lot of advisory videos, obviously, again, just trying to get you guys to be responsible, not to engage in any kind of behavior that's not gonna be lawful. Again, tonight's video is gonna be a simple one. We're gonna try not to make it too long. No promises once again. Tonight's video is gonna be one that we haven't talked about in the past. It's regarding firearms. We have a lot of different firearms out there. You have firearms that are designed a certain way. You have firearms that are designed, you have certain firearms that are designed with safeties, certain firearms that have safeties in place to where you can have the weapon completely loaded and then you can engage something called a safety. We have weapons that don't have safeties. One of those weapons is a Glock. The modern Glock, the Glock that's used by many police agencies around the world. The majority of police agencies around the world use Glock as their sidearm for the police department. Police departments around the world. You have military using Glock as well. The Glock pistol does not have a safety. You have guns like Beretta. It's an Italian-made pistol that the United States used for many years here in the service. That weapon does have a safety compared to the Glock that does not have a safety. So you have this weapon, it's a Beretta, has a safety. Tonight's video is basically going to be basically drop safe and non-drop safe weapons. So you have some of these weapons that are drop safe, meaning that if you drop the weapon on the ground for whatever reason, the weapon ends up on the ground. Maybe you accidentally drop the weapon falls off the table. The weapon's loaded, obviously, in this scenario, so we can get to the point. You have a weapon that's loaded, falls off the table, falls onto the ground, the weapon's loaded. You have weapons that are safe to drop, and you have weapons that are not safe to drop. So most of your conventional weapons like long guns, shotguns are not going to be drop safe because they have a bolt, open bolt style on the weapons, like a shotgun or AR-15, AK-47. The list goes on. I can't name every long gun. There's plenty of them out there. We have a few weapons here tonight that we're going to be displaying for YouTube in a safe manner. Obviously, we want to be safe with our weapons. We want to make sure that we do safety checks and clear the weapons before we engage in any kind of review. That way we're complying with YouTube's safety policy. So we have several weapons here tonight. We have one long gun. It's going to be an AR-15 that we've shown on the channel before. AR-15 by Smith & Wesson. It's a 223 civilian round and 5.56 military NATO round that we've shown on the channel before. We have that weapon. We have a Glock 29, model 29 Glock, which is a 10mm semi-automatic pistol. We have a Beretta 9mm Beretta, chambered in 9mm. So we've got 9mm Beretta, and then we have the 357 Magnum made by Smith & Wesson. 357 Magnum J-frame snub nose revolver made by Smith & Wesson. That's a revolver, so that's a hammerless or an internal hammer. It's not a hammerless, but it's an internal hammer on a revolver. So we have those 4 weapons tonight. We're going to be displaying here. We're just going to talk a little bit about the concept behind drop safe and non-drop safe weapons. So first weapon for tonight we have here to my left. This is the AR-15. This is the AR platform, AR-15. AR doesn't stand for assault rifle. Once again, like we've said on the channel before, you know, a lot of people like to say this is an assault rifle. This is not an assault rifle. This is a Armalite rifle. The company is Armalite. It's not assault rifle. This is a semi-automatic mechanism similar to your pistols, like your Glocks or your Berettas. This is not an assault rifle. It might look like an assault rifle to some, but this is not an assault rifle. We got the scope right here. We have the flashlight right here. Flashlight. All right. So this weapon right here, we got the mag in. The mag is loaded for YouTube. We have the mag loaded with 5.56 NATO round, military round. The chamber is not loaded. The chamber is empty for YouTube. I'm gonna go ahead and do a safety check on this weapon. Dry fire. All right, the weapon has been safety checked and the weapon is in compliance for YouTube. We're operating in a safe and controlled environment. I'm gonna go ahead and put this mag back in here. All right. So this firearm right here, this is the AR-15. AR-15. This weapon is not a drop safe weapon. This weapon, right now, we do not have this weapon loaded. We do not have this weapon loaded with any ammo in the chamber. We do not load this type of weapon with a round in the chamber, just for that reason. If we do happen to load this weapon with a round in the chamber, this weapon is to be pointed away from anyone. You know, if you carry this weapon, you're going to carry it with the barrel up like this, or you carry it with the barrel down. If you have a sling on this weapon, like we have right here, we got a nice sling right here. You go ahead and place that sling around your area right here. Carry the weapon like this. This weapon is not to, if you're going to go ahead and carry a round in the chamber, you have to have, we have a mechanism right here, which is the safety on this weapon. So you go ahead and carry that weapon on safe the whole time. If you're going to carry this weapon with a round in the chamber, you're going to go ahead and carry this weapon on safe with the round in the chamber. And then once you reach your target and you've assessed the area is clear from any innocent bystanders. Let's say you have to use this weapon in self-defense, or if you're using this weapon in any kind of combat overseas, or you're using this weapon in any kind of in a tactical environment, you're gonna have this weapon on safe. We have a safety right here. Safety, it's ready to fire or not ready to fire. You keep it on safety, which is not ready to fire, with the round in the chamber. You have your mag again, once again here, and you keep the weapon pointed in a safe direction until you're ready to assess that you've located the target that you're gonna, you know, obviously you're gonna defend against, or whatever the case might be. That's when you deactivate the safety and you go ahead and do what you have to do. Once that's done, the weapon goes back in safety, so you go ahead and activate that safety again, and that's how you carry this weapon. This is the type of weapon that is not drop safe. Once again, this is not a drop safe weapon, similar to like a shotgun. Shotgun also has an open bolt style mechanism here, to where if you have this weapon chambered and you leave it on fire, and you happen to go ahead and hit this back piece right here on the ground, the weapon can go off. This weapon can fire, it can go off. If you drop the weapon, if you have the weapon on a table and you happen to drop this weapon on the ground, possibility of this weapon going off is more than likely it's going to go off. So for that reason, once again, safety check for YouTube. Weapon is safe. Dry fire. All right, this weapon is safe. We're gonna set it aside for YouTube. So for this type of weapon, you don't want to have that weapon loaded with a mag in it. You don't want to have that weapon with a one in the chamber, because the possibility of that weapon going off is going to be more than likely that weapon is going to go off. We've had plenty of incidents here in my area with people that are trained with these types of weapons. We go through training every year with these firearms. These weapons are not designed to be loaded, or not designed to be loaded and dropped. These are non-drop safe. They're not drop safe weapons. These weapons will go off. So for that reason, you know, you don't want to have a round in the chamber if you're not trained, and you're not going to have any kind of stability or any kind of discipline with that weapon. So any kind of weapon like this, we're talking about a design that discharge can happen if it strikes a hard surface. So any kind of hard surface this weapon strikes. It's a modern weapon, obviously. We're not talking about, you know, 1920s or anything like that. You know, we try to be reasonable with the weapons and understand, you know, you can be trained. Mistakes happen. Anybody can make a mistake. So that's the reason for this video for tonight. Weapon like this could be dropped onto a hard surface and can go off. So it's better to be careful. It's better to be extra careful with your weapons. If you're gonna have the weapon loaded, point in a safe direction at all times, and make sure you do not have, if you don't have to have that weapon chambered, go ahead and unchamber the weapon as soon as possible. That way you can avoid any kind of mistake, any kind of accidental discharge. We don't want to see that. It's a negligent discharge at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if it's you know, a discharge that you did not intend to have happen. If the weapon discharge is going to be called a negligent discharge, it's not going to be an accidental. There's no such thing as accidental. It's negligent at the end of the day. So you want to be responsible with your firearms and be able to avoid this kind of behavior. You know, whenever the firing pin happens to come loose and any kind of friction happens, you're gonna have that firing pin disengage, and it's gonna strike the primer on that round. And if you have a round in the chamber, you're gonna have an accidental discharge. That round could hit someone. It could hit an unintended, you know, victim or unintended target. And we don't want to see that kind of stuff. So we need to be very careful with these firearms. We have to just ensure that we don't act negligent with the weapon. So go ahead and, you know, keep it in a safe direction. If there's no longer a threat in the area that you're in, if there's no longer a threat, if you're law enforcement, military, if you're a civilian and there's no longer a threat, you need to go ahead and unchamber that weapon. Go ahead and unchamber that round. Make sure that the chamber is clear. And if you want to keep your rounds in the magazine, that's fine. Just ensure that that chamber is clear from any rounds. That way you avoid any kind of mistakes from happening. So that's weapon number one for tonight. We don't have any shotguns. We have a shotgun that we're going to be about the next month or so. We're going to have a shotgun that's going to be sent to us by Bud's Gun Shop. BudsGunShop.com is going to send us a shotgun. It's a cruiser, the Mossberg 500 Cruiser that we're going to do a review on. We don't have it yet, but we're going to wait until we receive that weapon. But so for tonight, that's weapon number one. We have weapon number two here. It's going to be a Beretta 9mm. Once again, the Beretta 9mm, a hammer-fired weapon. 9mm, has safety on it. It's not like a Glock. It actually has a safety. I have the weapon right here. Beretta 9mm, right? Italian weapon. This is an Italian weapon, Beretta 9mm. Got your safety right here. Safety is on, safety off, safety on, safety off. All right, we're gonna do a check on this weapon. The magazine is fully loaded. Weapon is empty. Safety check for YouTube. Dry fire. Right, once again, operating in a safe and controlled environment. This weapon right here is a hammer fired weapon. So let's say you don't have the safety on this weapon, right? Let's say you don't have a safety. This weapon's hammer fired. If this weapon's dropped, we have the hammer right now, it's depressed towards the rear. If you drop this weapon and you have no safety on, this weapon becomes basically a non-drop safe weapon. So possibility for this weapon going off, it's possible. I don't know 100% if the weapon's gonna go off, if it's dropped, but if you have this weapon with the hammer to the rear and you drop it, I don't know if you drop this weapon with the hammer up front like this, if it's gonna go off. But the possibility of this weapon going off with a hammer style mechanism here, hammer style, it's possible that this weapon goes off. Once again, we want to be responsible with these weapons. We don't want any kind of accidents happening. I'm going to go ahead and put the magazine back in, set this weapon aside for YouTube. Anything's possible. Once again, when you're dealing with any kind of firearm, you know, different manufacturers come up with different designs for these weapons. Another design that's not going to go off is Glock. Glock has a different mechanism in their firearms that do not allow any kind of accidental discharge if the weapon is dropped in any manner. The Glock, we have a Glock here to my left. It's the Glock 10mm. It's a Glock 29 subcompact version of Glock 10mm. It's a very strong round. Once again, we have it right here. I'm going to go ahead and for YouTube, we're going to go ahead and display this weapon. It's in the holster right here. Inside the waistband holster, we have a Glock 10mm subcompact. Magazine is loaded for YouTube, fully loaded magazine. Set the mag aside. The weapon is unchambered for YouTube. Weapon is unchambered. Dry fire for YouTube. Operating in a safe and controlled environment. Once again, this firearm right here, Glock 10mm, Glock 29, this weapon is drop safe. This weapon will not fire if there's one in the chamber and this weapon happens to fall on the floor, falls off the table, falls off of a helicopter, depending on, you know, I've heard stories where people have dropped their weapons from a helicopter. Glock especially, this Glock right here, mechanism, weapon's not gonna go off. I don't recommend dropping it on purpose. That's something I don't recommend. You know, why would you do something like that, you know? But this weapon right here, the way it works, this weapon is not going to fire. It's not supposed to fire. It's drop safe. So this weapon is drop safe according to Glock. When it comes to having a weapon chambered, if it falls on the ground, it's not supposed to fire. Once again, Glock 29, 10mm version of Glock, subcompact. So the weapon, this weapon right here should be safe, drop safe. We're gonna go ahead and insert the mag for YouTube. Set this weapon aside, back in the holster. Inside the waistband holster, very nice Velcro style holster. Right, set it aside. All right, our last weapon tonight is gonna be a Smith & Wesson. It's gonna be a revolver, a J-frame revolver made by Smith & Wesson. It's scandium, made out of metal called scandium and aluminum. And it's a 357 Magnum made by Smith & Wesson, American weapon. Very nice weapon. Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum. It's a model 340 PD. Right, I'm gonna go ahead and display the weapon right here for YouTube. Safety check. Right, the weapon has been unloaded. Nothing in the cylinder. right here. Nothing in the cylinder. 5 rounds of 357 Magnum, right? Dry fire. Weapon is unloaded for YouTube, operating in a safe and controlled environment. Once again, this weapon right here, Smith & Wesson 340 PD, chambered in 357 Magnum. All right, this is another weapon that is drop safe, according to Smith & Wesson. Internal hammer, so the hammer is hidden, it's not visible. The hammer is not visible. This weapon operates like a Glock, like the last weapon we showed you. This is another weapon that is supposedly drop safe. Obviously, you're not going to drop this weapon on purpose. Our goal is not to drop anything on purpose or do anything like that. Any kind of negligent behavior when it comes to firearms, once again. But you just want to know the difference when it comes to drop safe and non-drop safe weapons. There's tons of weapons out there. Once again, we have shotguns, we have semi-automatic pistols, 9mm, 40, 45, the list goes on. You know, it doesn't matter what caliber it is. You just have to know what type of weapon you're dealing with, what style weapon. If it's a revolver, if it's a pistol, if it's striker fired like a Glock, which is a striker fired mechanism, an internal mechanism that's striker fired, as opposed to a hammer fired like what I just showed you with the Beretta. Beretta is a hammer fired weapon. It's not a striker. It's not the same as a Glock. So it all depends. You just need to know the difference between all these weapons. You need to know what's drop safe, what's not drop safe, and how to conduct yourself when you're carrying a firearm like this, and just to avoid any type of mistakes. We don't want anyone to make any mistakes. We want everybody to be safe with their firearms. We want everyone to be able to maneuver with their weapons and just be responsible. Once again, this is a short one for tonight. We didn't go into any disclosures or anything like that for tonight, but we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We're gonna do our shout outs once again. Shout outs to Gun Freak Nation on YouTube. We have Gun Freak Nation in Detroit with Uncle Terry. We have Trey 57 Production with Ramon in Pennsylvania, and then we finally have the Alert Zone TV with Uncle James in Iowa. These are 3 channels that we collaborate with on YouTube. Very good content, talking about all kinds of different content as it relates to firearms, fair use videos, self-defense, safety equipment. And so these are our 3 collaborating channels on YouTube. You guys go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and give us a big like, a thumbs up, and go ahead and continue to watch our videos. We appreciate the support. We'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.